Welcome back to Hillbilly Pillars. This is the big one, or at least the one I'm really excited about doing. I recently turned 50 years old, and to celebrate this momentous occasion, my two older brothers, an old friend from high school, and myself rendezvoused in Tulsa to attend the Bob Dylan Center and the Woody Guthrie Center. And our visit coincided with an annual conference called the World of Bob Dylan. As soon as they announced the dates, I booked an Airbnb just a block from the center. And we went there, and the center was amazing. And we threw down. There was a show featuring a number of artists, and they covered songs from the time Dylan went electric to coincide with the new show that was at the center, which was coinciding with the movie that came out starring Timothy Chalamet about when Bob Dylan went electric at Newport. And most importantly, and why this video is here, is I tasked us all with putting together our favorite 25 albums of our lifetimes. The ground rules that I put out for it was no compilations, no live recordings, and there could not be more than 3 selections for any one artist. These were the parameters I set. It's kind of how I wanted to do my list and felt the best. When you're talking for an all-time list, 25 is a pretty small number, and that felt like just the right way to do it. It was a little difficult because, like, when you're cutting out compilations, for me as a country guy, I've got artists that careers were before long playing records. So, like, there's no Hank Williams here. And if you allowed me any Hank Williams, like that 40 greatest hits thing, I think is his most popular release, I guaranteed to be on there, and I tremble at how high that might be. There's a Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys, the Tiffany Transcripts Volume 2, which is kind of like his most well-known songs pieced together from those live recordings. That would definitely be one. So there's stuff I had to cut out, but it was just more in the essence of the vibes that we do here with the studio albums and what I wanted to do. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to do this. This was the reason I got into the vinyl community, was watching other people talk about their favorite albums. So I just sought those lists out, and it's still something I enjoy doing. It's catching people I don't know anything about their background or anything, and just hearing them talk about their favorite albums. So I hope you enjoyed me doing that with mine. So without further ado, I'm going to start at number 25 here with Bruce Springsteen, The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle, 1973. Bruce was my first big music fandom focus. I got into him when I was around 14 or so. My older brothers, and when I say older, were 4 to 5 years older than I am, and they were into him, and I got into him through my brothers. I remember listening to their cassette version of Live 75-85 and having my worldview and mind altered and changed. And actually another stepping stone, I think the real bridge to me just becoming a lifetime kind of music obsessive and fan, was getting in a few years later to Springsteen bootlegs. And essentially, and most importantly, those were shows before Born to Run. There was this otherworldliness, this magical vibe to them, this mystery and mysticism in them. They would often be like short sets, like 9 songs that would play out in long versions. And, they would come on these bootleg labels like Swinging Pig and stuff like that. So you felt like you were doing something a little untoward and hearing these magical things. It was just a cool vibe and energy. And of all of Bruce's work, this album comes closest to catching that same magic. When I think about the album, I especially think about side 2 as an all-timer vinyl side for me. It has Incident, then Rosalita, the New York City Serenade. And for my taste, of all the Bruce pre-Born to Run work, Incident is his greatest track. It would be high up there if I was to you know, rank like what I consider his best songs. There's actually, within this same world of bootleg stuff, there was a show, you know, like a lot of bootlegs where it's taken from like an FM broadcast from the Main Point. And like, I remember the title I had was called The Saint, the Incident, and the Main Point Shuffle. I love how they come up with bootleg title versions. But he opens the show, and this is right before he's about to explode with Born to Run, with a version of Incident. He has a violin player, and then in the coda at the end of the song, it fades out with his police siren. It's so, like, perfect's an overused word, but it's perfect. It's just perfect. And he opened the show with it, and I can't imagine having been there, you know, to have seen something like that. And I can see how people were like, you know, they testify about that kind of thing. It changed their lives. I can see how that could do that. That's incredible. But I always kind of knew once I started putting my list together that this was going to cap it. This was going to be 25, which is a little weird. Like the next one was the hardest one, I think, to start the list there, and then which ones to leave out. But it just always felt right that The Wild and the Innocent was going to kind of start the ball rolling. So that's number 25. Number 24, we have Sunvolt, Straightaways, 1997. When we were counting down our albums and we were sharing them one at a time, we would play a song off each album for each other. It was a really cool way to do it. It takes a long time, but it's worth it if you ever get to do that type of thing. It was awesome. But, you know, I was like, all right. And I said it, and one of my brothers went, I knew it. I knew that album was going to be in your list, and I'm actually surprised it's not way higher. And, you know, friend and other brother laughed, and then he got quiet, and he's like, wait a minute, this isn't the album I'm thinking about. And I was like, haha, no, it's not. Because he was, if you know Sunvolt, he was talking about Trace, their debut. But this is their follow-up to that. Sunvolt, if you don't know, was the J. Farrar band that formed after the groundbreaking band Uncle Tupelo broke up. Jeff Tweedy famously went on to form Wilco, and they were in a band together. But as I kept comparing this album, not really comparing, but like considering other albums that might take its place, it just kept winning. And something about it, I asked myself why. And in a bigger picture, that original lineup and those first of Sunvolt and those first three albums they released, Trace, Straightaways, which we're talking about now, and then Wide Swing Tremolo, way up there on one of my favorite 3-album runs. Just something about it. And as I really was like, what is it about it? Like something maybe I knew, but had never articulated or like realized fully. J. Farrar is one of my very favorite singers. It's very distinctive way of singing. It always, like maybe he's always a little bit flat, but he slides in and out of melodies in a way that it is just wonderful. And that combined with his more prose style of writing, it's not concrete telling you straightforward. It's more of kind of like you never quite grasping for sure what he's getting at, but then at the end it all feels like a thing and you know exactly what he was getting at. It's a real tough trick to pull off, and he does it well. And this was really surprising to me. Obviously Straightaways has stayed with me. I mean, we're talking about a top 25 all-time album. So yeah, that's Sunvolt, Straightaways at 24. I've got some notes here, so if you see me referring to that from time to time, there's some stuff I didn't want to leave out, so forgive me for that. And I hadn't said it yet. It's going to say it in the title and all that. I'm just going to go 5 at a time because I just knew I might have a propensity to talk a lot about these. So each video is going to feature 5 records. Next up, 23. Easily one of my 5. There, you know, the Spinal Tap, it goes to 11. There's not a volume knob that goes up high enough for this record. And that is Honky Tonk Heroes by Waylon Jennings. Actually, also from 1973, just like The Wild and the Innocent. So a couple of early 70s albums kicking in. Look at these scallywags. You can't trust these outlaws. what can I say about Honky Tonk Heroes? It's Waylon Jennings doing songs penned by then relatively unknown Texas songwriter Billy Joe Shaver. And there's a lot of like legend, and you're not quite sure what's true or what's not about how he came about discovering Shaver and recording just his tracks. Kind of the vibe is that Shaver just relentlessly hounded him. And there was a moment that came across where Waylon was like, all right, sat Shaver down in front of him, like, play me a song. I think he'd heard of one song before and kind of liked it, but he's like, play me a song, and if I like it, I'll record it. Play, oh, that's a good one. All right, you can play another one. If I like it, you can play me another one. And it just kept going. And then eventually Waylon relented and was like, all right, I'm just going to do an album of this guy's songs. And there is something about the combination of Waylon's delivery, him playing with his house band, a rawness to it combined with Shaver's nearly unequaled capacity to get across a world in a short period of time in a song. It's one of those things that I've always thought about this album is it kind of called the shots of punk music, I think, like a precursor. This was 73, and I actually did the math, so excuse me while I check this out. The Ramones, self-titled, is 27 minutes and 21 seconds. Honky Tonk Heroes runtime was right at 25 minutes. 10 songs, 25 minutes. They get in and out quick. It's very sparse, like bass, drums, guitar, harmonica with heavy on the bass and drums sound. And it's these whole worlds that open up with, once again, Shaver have lines like that just hardly anyone else could touch. She was built for speed with the tools you need to make a new fool every day. The devil made me do it the first time. The second time I've done it on my own. I'm turning all these roads I walked around the other way. Rode my thumb to San Francisco. I worked down by the bay. I got some schooling paid for by the law. The hardest thing I learned there is there ain't no easy way to get ahead behind those county walls. Just an absolute painter with master strokes. And the combination of those two things on this record hit just right. And don't let anyone else fool you. This is the Outlaw record. This is the one, as far as like I want to get to the heart of like, what does that mean? What is, getting at outlaw country music? Honky Tonk Heroes, man. Just get to it, and that's it. So yeah, that is Waylon and Billy Joe at 23. At 22, and this is the record I mentioned in the intro that had not been pressed on vinyl, but recently had, and that is Nanci Griffith's Other Voices, Other Rooms. That year is 1993. So to date myself, the year I graduated high school. This record opened up my heart and mind to the world of folk music. I'd been into Bob Dylan, but to me that was just like, he had songs rooted in folk music, but that was Bob Dylan. So it was kind of like a different thing to me. But this is a labor of love album by Texas singer-songwriter Nanci Griffith, in which she assembled a lot of her very favorite tracks with great players and put them together. You've got songs by Kate Wolf, Townes Van Zandt, Bob Dylan, John Prine, Gordon Lightfoot, just on and on and on. Just a powerhouse songwriter. And they're played beautifully. And there's a real unique gift that Nanci had on this. Like, I'm not a big Griffith fan. I think I maybe have one of her actual studio original songs albums. She has a real gift on this record to get across the emotion of the songs as well as her adoration for the songs at the same time. It's a real cool thing to be able to do. And they're just, like I said, a world opened up to me with this. And it also, I have a lot of heart in this personally. My mother passed away. Time flies. I think it's been, I'll get this wrong, but like 12 years ago or something. She just had a lot of illnesses, and too young. And she loved this record too. And my mom and dad had it on CD, and they had like 9 CDs. So there's a real connection with that to me. That hey, that's part of the deal. I think about my mom a lot when I think about this record. But I believe it's Elektra Records that it's on. Let me see. Yeah, they released it recently as part of like a celebration. I believe it was 75 years of them being a label or what have you, which is kind of crazy that any label could be around that long. I might be wrong on that number. But anyway, they released what they considered some classics from their catalog. And this was one of them. And man, was I excited when I saw that it was going to be pressed on vinyl. And it sounds great. So at number 22, Nanci Griffith, Other Voices, Other Rooms. Now, number 21. This one gets like a special trophy, a special gem, as being the most recent album on my list. And that is St. Cloud by Waxahatchee, 2020. I have a habit. This is my best way of trying to keep up with modern music, because I like to go to the year-end list. I'm a list junkie. Obviously, I'm doing this, and this album came up a lot on sites I prefer year-end lists. So I gave it a chance on streaming, and it was pretty immediate. And I think I got about 5 songs in, and I stopped, and I'm like, I'm getting that on vinyl. I think that was maybe the first time I had done that in vinyl, records. I'm like, I'm getting that on vinyl. This is astounding, and I want to stop it right now, and I want to try to recreate this and like have that first experience on that. And it's just undeniably, I can just tell it's going to be an all-timer for me. Waxahatchee is the stage name of Katie Crutchfield, singer-songwriter from Alabama. And she had started out with like a bedroom, I believe, like recorded, actually, a bedroom pop, just solo acoustic album. And then had been slowly building up a following with a lot of critical acclaim. And then she decided that she was going to get a full backing band and record an album like her hero Lucinda Williams did, and from Car Wheels on the Gravel Road. And with the band that she hooked up with and the songs that she penned, she did that and almost then some. There's a real peculiarity in her voice, a very unique style that I just trust. I just believe she's telling her truth when I hear her sing. And the songs, there's just a remarkable slate of terrifically written and performed songs on here, especially side A. It kicks my butt up and down. And it's really exciting for me because I am someone who's more gripped on and tuned into older music. So to have had something this new just kind of, and not be an older artist, like a new artist for me. New is relative to this recording career didn't start 40 or 30 years ago. To release an album to make this list and get on it was something else. When I heard the songs, I wanted to know about this person. Like I was fascinated by her and like what was about her life that led to these songs. And also, it's a real personal record for me in that I see it as a reflection of the last decade of my life. I've really, I was not in the best place. I'd been divorced and bankrupt, and major depression issues. I had a daughter, and there were periods of time where I wasn't able to see her. And then, tell me if you've heard this story before. I met someone, and she was worth getting my shit straight for. And and my life has just been on an upward trajectory since then. And this album, if I recall, was a post-sobriety. She had decided to get clean. I don't think she was like in a terrible, terrible place, but she was in that world and had people she adored and loved, and some of the songs kind of center around that, who didn't make it. And she decided she was not going to do that, along with falling in love and starting a relationship with a fellow artist and musician. And these songs are kind of about the resiliency of that. And some is the challenges of a relationship. And she has this real self-awareness in the songwriting that's incredible. And also this perspective as being like a dude from a woman, of like knowing which she can represent to her partner. And, you know, it's just an astoundingly beautiful record. And also, this is not important, making a run at my all-time favorite album cover. Now, this is not entirely free of the male gaze, okay, because Katie Crutchfield's babe, but she's in this Loretta Lynn-styled blue gown, stretched out on the roof of a Ford truck with the album's title as a license plate from Alabama on it. And the bed is full of roses. That is, once again, that's a Hillbilly Pillar Core. And it's just a gorgeous album. And I can't suggest it enough. And like I said, it's a real prize in my countdown, because it's, I believe, pretty easily, like, I don't think there's a close second, the most recent release to make the list. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me. This went long with the introduction, but that's 25 through 21. And I will be back when I get time to make it with 20 through 16. Thanks.